Blimey, do you remember that visceral, bone-rattling scream of a classic F1 V8? You know, the one that just vibrates right through your chest?
Oh, absolutely nothing like it.
Right. Well, welcome to another deep dive here at the Paddock Vault. We're pulling from the May 4th, 2026 Motorsport wires today, and FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem just dropped an absolute bombshell.
Yeah, a massive one. We're talking about a potential return of the V8s to the paddock.
Exactly. Sometime around 2030 or maybe 2031 at the latest. Now, before we get off the grid, hit in for a subscribe and give us the green light by hitting like, would you? And drop a comment down below. What do you prefer, mate? The classic V8 scream or the modern hybrid tech? Because the implications of this announcement are just bonkers.
I mean, it is a complete philosophical U-turn from the current regulations, really. F1 is basically trapped in what we're calling the 2026 problem.
Spot on. They shifted the power ratio to lean heavily on, the electrical MGUK deployment.
And the racing dynamic has severely suffered as a result.
Severely. It's a bit like replacing a reliable marathon runner with a relay team, right? Where one runner is incredibly fast, but he needs to take a nap every 400 meters.
That is a brilliant way to put it, actually.
If you've been watching F1 lately, you've probably noticed how much of the race is dictated by this sort of artificial energy management.
Yeah, and it's not just boring racing either. It's actually quite dangerous.
Right, because the combustion element is so downsized now. If a driver runs out of battery power on a straightaway, they essentially hit a brick wall.
Just a total sudden loss of pace.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the car right behind them is deploying full electrical power, which creates these massive, terrifying speed deltas.
Which, forces a deeper existential question for the sport. It really highlights this constant tug-of-war between pure racing and modern technology.
Yeah, it does.
Because you have to ask yourself, does the absolute pinnacle of motorsport mean pushing the boundaries of cutting-edge green efficiency? Or is it fundamentally about, well, delivering the emotional, visceral entertainment of a screaming engine?
That is the ultimate question. And that tension between green tech and pure entertainment explains why the team reactions to this V8 news are so surprising.
Right, because you'd think the tech-obsessed, highly corporate teams would absolutely hate a retro V8 return.
You really would. But here's where it gets really interesting. Mercedes, the team that absolutely dominated the hybrid era, they're actually backing it.
Which is pretty wild to think about.
Totally. Toto Wolff admitted they loved the V8s, but he insists that going back to a 100% combustion engine by 2030 would look, in his words, ridiculous in the modern world.
What's fascinating here is his proposed compromise, though. Wolff actually wants to simplify the setup.
Wait, how does he plan to do that?
By building a monster 800 horsepower V8 combustion engine, and then just bolting on 400 horsepower of electric energy to keep it relevant to road car trends.
Wait, hold on a second. I have to push back on this logic.
What is that?
Well, if Wolff wants a 1,200 horsepower hybrid that just happens to use a V8 block, aren't we right back to the exact same complex energy management problems that fans are complaining about right now?
No. I mean, yes.
You still have massive batteries to charge and deploy. It's the same issue.
You do. But Wolff's argument is that pushing a 1,200 horsepower hybrid forces incredible advancements in battery density and road car tech.
Right, the old R&D argument.
Exactly. To the manufacturers, F1 have to remain an R&D laboratory just to justify the billions they spend.
Sure, I get that. But at the end of the day, Formula One is fundamentally an entertainment product. If the racing itself is artificial and heavy, the fans aren't going to care about battery density, are they?
No,
Yeah.
probably not. And that cynical reality of F1 politics is exactly what you see when you look at the underlying motives of the other teams.
Right, because they aren't backing the V8 out of pure romantic nostalgia, are they?
Not at all. It's about survival and advantage. Take Ferrari. Frederick Vasseur is pushing for this purely to slash what he calls absurd engine development budgets.
Ah, so for Maranello, it's just about the money.
Financial survival is a huge piece of the puzzle, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have the competitive angle. Over at Red Bull, Laurent Mekies knows the new Red Bull Ford division had to basically start from scratch for 2026.
Right, so a brand new V8 era resets the board for everyone.
Exactly. It gives them a blank slate technical challenge where they aren't fighting decades of established hybrid data from their rivals.
So what does this all mean for us? We started out talking about the return of that pure screaming V8 sound that fans are just begging for.
Yeah, but underneath the surface, the teams are really just maneuvering for financial caps and competitive resets.
Spot on. The nostalgia is a powerful marketing tool, obviously, but the engineering reality and the corporate budgets will always dictate the ultimate direction of the grid.
Always.
Which leaves you with a pretty massive question to ponder the next time you watch a race. If Formula One brings back that classic V8 roar just to please the fans, but keeps massive electric batteries attached to satisfy the manufacturers, are they actually fixing the core problem of heavy artificial racing? Or are they just putting a loud, nostalgic band-aid over it?